All right, it's here. I've been saying it's going to come, and it finally came. We got everything in stock. We have the full merch line available now on the website, HVACRvideos.com. Okay, I'm going to show you guys real quick, and then we'll get into the video. So we have the original shirt design. This is the big picture diagnosis shirt, okay? White. This is actually one of my favorite ones because it's kind of like a retro 80s color. Reminds me of the old skater shirts from like the Santa Cruz style and Stussy and, you know, different things like that. But really cool one. Now we got a restock of all of these, okay? This is the slate gray big picture diagnosis shirt. Actually, big picture diagnoses on this one, okay? We also have that in black. Okay, this is probably the most popular one. Then, all right, we have the new shirt design, which I'm wearing right now. Now, this is a women's fit. Now, this is the only one that I have a women's fit. It's a V-neck. It's identical to the shirt that I'm wearing right now. This is the brand new shirt design. My favorite thing about this shirt, we're going to call this the flag shirt, is you've got the American flag on the right sleeve, which I really dig. Okay, so the men's and women's is the exact same design, but this is just a women's fit, and then there's also a men's fit available. And what everybody's been asking about is the zip-up hoodies, okay? So we have a zip-up hoodie available. Now, this is a really simple logo. Just says HVACR Videos. I really like this one. One thing that I really dig about it is it's got a black zipper, okay? I really like that it's not silver or anything like that. This does have two front pockets up on the front. I'd say it's a medium duty zip up hoodie, so it can, you know, it's not for super cold weather, but it'll keep you warm. It's a little warm for Southern California. The original hat design that I've had available for a long time. This is a flex fit hat. We have small, medium, and large, extra large. My favorite things about this hat is there's a black underbill, so it lasts a lot longer and doesn't get so nasty. And also, it's kind of hard for you guys to see, but this is a breathable material. This is a different style hat. It's almost textured. It's kind of hard to see that, but I can actually see light through the entire hat. I wear this all the way through the summer. You know, don't sweat is bad, or it really helps you to breathe, okay? And then, last thing we have on the website is we have beanies. They've been up for a while now. I haven't said it on a video yet, but we have cuffed and non-cuffed. These fit my big head, so everything is available at HVACRvideos.com. If you guys are interested, go check it out. You can definitely support the channel by purchasing that stuff. Now, I didn't step on it very hard. I tried to keep the prices as low as possible, obviously while staying, you know, above water and not completely going underneath, but I'm not trying to break the bank or anything like that, okay? So definitely go check it out, and we'll get on with the video now. This video is brought to you by Sporlan. Quality, integrity, and tradition. All right, we have a walk-in cooler service call, and the customer's complaint is that since this morning when they got here, it's been in the 50s. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon now. It's still 55 degrees. Pop my head up back behind this coil. It's extremely dirty, but I don't think that's my problem. We're not iced up, obviously, and the temp control up there says 50-something degrees in here. So at this point, we need to get onto the roof and see what's going on up there. Here's my lineup here. Beer walk-in, walk-in freezer, walk-in cooler. It's not running. Condenser doesn't look too bad. Cover's opened up. The defrost clock does not have any lights on it. That's curious. We need to go ahead and start by checking voltage, so we'll check voltage right here at the contactor. All right, so we're gonna go for 3-phase voltage. Nothing from 1 to 2. Nothing from 2 to 3. Nothing from 1 to 3. Nothing. All right. We need to go over here to this disconnect switch. Let's open this guy up. Okay, that is a non-fused disconnect switch. And yeah, that's problematic. So we're gonna go ahead and go down to the breaker panel, because more than likely something going on at the breaker. Before we do that, power this guy down and we'll verify. That way, if it's tripped or if it's off, we can turn it on without worrying about causing any potential damage. We'll come back up and troubleshoot it from there. Well, could it be as simple as that? Just a breaker that was turned off? Seems kind of silly to make me drive all the way out here for that, but hey, life happens, right? If that's the case. But again, I don't always just assume that it was, you know, someone that shut it off. Maybe it was turned off for a reason. So why? That's the question. Let's go ahead and check voltage. There we go, what, 206, 207. So we got 3-phase coming into the unit. Let's test a ground real quick. Find our ground wire. There's a ground source. Nothing. 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 Okay. So we're not grounded. Let's go over to the bottom of the contactor, because remember the contactor is not pulled in yet. And let's make sure nothing's grounded. I should say on the top on this one, but let's make sure nothing's grounded on the contactor. Nothing. 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 So I don't see a reason why I can't turn this thing on. I'll go ahead and spin the fan motors by hand really quick. Make sure it's wasn't like hitting a blade making a noise or something. No. Okay. Well, let's hope it doesn't blow up. It's running. What's the sight glass look like? Sight glass is currently filling up. Give it a minute. It's already clear. Okay, well, we're gonna watch it for a little while and see if anything else happens. Maybe it was just an easy, someone left the breaker off. Well, it is running with a clear sight glass. I don't see anything wrong on the roof. We know the evaporator's dirty. The condenser's not too bad, but it's kind of dirty inside. It's Saturday at 4:40. I'm gonna let this thing run. I'm not gonna clean the evaporator today. We are gonna come back, but that gives us an opportunity to make sure everything else is good on it. We'll come back on straight time. I don't see a need to put gauges on it. I'm gonna watch it for another 20 minutes, make sure it pulls down in temp, but I have a feeling that maybe someone just shut off the breaker accidentally or something. It's hard to say. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna give them tonight. And like I said, I'll come back on another day and go through the system thoroughly. All right, I gave the coil a quick brush. Nothing crazy, just real quickly. It's slowly coming down in temp. It's at about 52 degrees right now. And that's all the gunk that I pulled off that thing. Big old pile of it. So that's a little bit better. That'll cool them down a little bit. And then we'll come back, properly clean it, follow up, and go through everything then. We're back today. I had someone come in and clean the back of the evaporator, so the airflow is moving. I can already tell a difference. And I went ahead and probed up, and we're gonna check the system operation, evaporator superheat, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna jump up onto the roof right now. Everything's looking better. Like I said, it wasn't that dirty before, but I had them just clean this just to be safe, had them clean the other ones too. And then I'm just gonna go through it, check, like I said, evap superheat, and you know, check the liquid level in the receiver, all that good stuff. All right, right off the bat, I'm not seeing anything really scary. The system's about to satisfy. It's 87 degrees outside. We have such bipolar weather here in California. I was wearing a sweater and a beanie yesterday. It was like 50 something degrees. 37 degrees in the box, so it's just about to satisfy. 13 degrees evaporator superheat. That's not too bad. I mean, that's really not bad. Of course, I'd like to see it a little bit lower, but it's not the end of the world. Evaporator TD is 20 degrees. It's a bit on the high side, but not the end of the world. Condenser TD is about 15 degrees. Sight glass is still clear. We're looking good there. Everything's looking good. What's our discharge line temp? Discharge line temp's 177 degrees.
That does not seem bad at all. There's nothing about this system now that we got it cleaned up that seems odd, but couple things. Number one, there's a little bit of oil accumulation, but that could just be from the oil from the rotolock nut, because we'll usually oil them. That happens. Also, down at the evaporator, the superheat port was missing the cap. So I'm going to go ahead and check the liquid level, make sure that we have a proper liquid level on this guy. Without it being marked, I would assume the last time it got worked on, it's at the 3/4 mark, but we'll see. While trying to pump it down, the valve stem on this king valve is bad and it's leaking. The packing's bad on it, and you can't tighten the packing anymore. It has the spanner style one. I tried tightening it and it won't tighten. So that is one knock. We're going to talk to them about changing that receiver. But it doesn't, it kind of blew off a little bit of gas too. When I originally took the cap off, there was a little bit of a spray, but then when I front seated it, it was, you know, pissing out everywhere. So but anyways, I went ahead and front seated the valve. We're waiting for it to pump down and shut off right now, and then we'll check the liquid level. Kind of thinking that the pressure control might be failing too, because it's set to cut out at like 10 psi. There we go. And I just pushed on it and it shut off. So it's right there. Okay, we're gonna check the liquid level. All right, our liquid level is a little bit above the halfway mark. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some refrigerant to this. Let's talk about this real quick. So if we don't know if the unit's low or not right now, okay? It's not flashing. It wasn't flashing when I was here yesterday when it was cool. Or Saturday, whatever day I was here. But I checked the liquid line level or liquid level, and it's lower than the 3/4 mark, okay? We don't have a mark telling us where it was left the last time we serviced the unit. Life happens. Had we marked it, then I would know, hey, it's below the liquid level. So simply, whatever method you use to find out the proper flooded charge, okay? Because this unit has this head pressure control valve, we need that extra refrigerant for the winter time for it to properly flood the condenser. So to calculate the flooded charge, there's a couple methods. Come here on the coldest day of the year and clear the sight glass. That's the easiest. Well, but yeah, you have to come on the coldest day of the year, and you don't know when that's going to be, right? Use the Sporlan method 90-30-1 that only works for tube and fin condensers, which this one is a standard copper tube condenser. You can calculate the internal volume of the condenser. Once you clear the sight glass for the normal charge, then you can add the flooded charge. That's another great method to do it, okay? Then another way that you can do it is put the maximum amount of refrigerant in the system, okay? Which would be 3/4 of the liquid line receiver when it's pumped down. Can't put any more safely, so that way there's room for expansion, okay? Or you can lean on the manufacturer. Now this is a cold zone or a Russell condensing unit. From the factory, they used to have a little tag right here, but it's worn off. But it used to have a tag that said add 3 pounds of refrigerant. Sometimes I used to write it on the top of the condensing unit. I never did on this one. Okay, now with that being said, we're walking up just doing a general evaluation, and we want to know if we're low on gas, but it's not showing any symptoms of being low on gas, okay? So in this method, the Sporlan 90-30-1 method wouldn't really be beneficial, okay? Because we don't know if it's low or not. That's the hard thing. Now, if it was flashing, I could calculate it from there. You know, we could clear the sight glass, you could do all kinds of things, and you could figure out the exact amount of refrigerant needed. But the fact that it's not flashing right now, I'm just preventatively checking the liquid level, and I find that the liquid level's about right here, okay? Now, I know that the maximum charge is 3/4 of a receiver. This very well could be the factory charge, but I don't know, okay? And it's not worth a call back to me to make a guess and assume that the refrigerant charge is correct, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and add more refrigerant, get it up to the 3/4 level, and then we'll look for leaks. Now, I already know that I have a leak right here, and I can guarantee you that down at my evaporator, it was missing the cap on the superheat stem. I guarantee it's leaking there because Schrader's leak, okay? And there's probably a little something right in here too, okay? Now, I will bring all this stuff up to the customer, but I can absolutely guarantee you that they are not gonna wanna repair any leaks on this system. Being that it's an R22 system, they're very proactive about changing out their equipment. They're more than likely gonna wanna replace the equipment, but as usual, big picture diagnosis. I give them all the information, I find the leaks, and then I say, what do you want to do? Even though I know they're going to want to replace it, I'm still doing a big picture diagnosis. All right, I'm going to kind of cheat here because my system's still pumped down. We're at 21 PSI and we're satisfied. So I'm going to jump out the low pressure control and then add refrigerant, stacking it in the receiver, and then check the liquid level again. So we're going to do this real quick. Okay. And then I'm just slowly adding refrigerant, making sure that we don't go into a vacuum. And then I'll check the liquid level here in just a minute. So my suction port is already downstairs on the evaporator. So just got to be careful because we are adding refrigerant to the suction line right at the compressor. But it is going through a ball valve and it's going through that low loss fitting too. So we'll just go nice and slow. All right, it definitely is higher. It's above the valve. It's right here now. It's right about the liquid level. That's just about the top of the receiver. Well, that's right at the 3/4 mark. So it didn't take much. But okay, so we know we have the maximum amount of refrigerant in it. So I'm gonna mark that with a marker now. So I went ahead and took a yellow paint marker, marked the liquid level, so that way we know. And we're gonna go ahead and put the system back in normal operation. This pressure control is definitely sticking because to get it to shut off again, I had to whack the pressure control, so that's problematic. So we're just gonna get a big list of things for the customer. So the cap just blew off in my hands, but you can clearly see that, whoop, cold, it's leaking there. Let's see if I can do this without burning my hand. Don't ever put yourself in a position where you could potentially burn your hand. If it starts to get cold, you just let it go, because I'm safe, my hand's not cold at the moment, but if I had to put my fingers on the valve, then I'd be worried, because there's nothing worse than, well, you don't want a refrigerant burn, basically. So, always want to be careful. All right. Yeah, see, it's still kind of leaking refrigerant. But all right, we're back up and running. We're gonna let the vitals stabilize out again. So even with the fans on, moving the air around, leak detector's going crazy. Using the Infocon Detect Stratus thing. But yeah, it's picking it up even with the fans running, so you know it's leaking good. But anyways, we're gonna throw a cap on that. This thing gets the all clear for now. It's, you know, already down to temperature, everything's good. We're just gonna give the customer a list. So. Also, I didn't mention, was on that list was the defrost time clock. When we got here today, it had the wrong time, and I was just here 2 days ago and I set the time. Nobody shut it off. So defrost time clock's also failing. So on my big picture quote, it's going to be new receiver, new dual pressure control, new defrost time clock. And like I said, the customer, I guarantee, won't even do that. So, but we'll give them all the information and let them make that decision.
All right, you know, sometimes we get those calls, and this was a frustrating one because it was a Saturday afternoon, evening-ish, right in there. And, you know, they call me. They said their walk-in cooler had been down, had been messing with them all day long. So I get out there, and I find that the breaker is turned off, you know. And, yeah, of course I was pissed, okay? I'm not going to hide the fact that it pisses me off, but I did not show it to the customer. And guess what? Without ripping anybody off, without doing anything wrong, because I was there, the customer hasn't been doing preventative maintenance, I was able to look at the rest of the system. And even though it was just as simple as a flipped off breaker, I still went through it properly to make sure, because I don't know who turned it off, why they turned it off. You know, was it making a noise? Did it trip and then someone turned it on and then turned it back? I didn't know, okay? And they didn't give me information, so I went through it. Okay, now I didn't spend a bunch of time that day. I made sure there was nothing major going on that day. And then I came back and followed up, got their approval. We scheduled to go ahead and clean the equipment because the evaporator was dirty. That gave me an opportunity to find refrigerant leaks in the system, find out that it was low on gas, and go through it thoroughly. Okay, so I know those calls can be frustrating, and I know sometimes it's really easy just to say flip it on and move on, okay? But you're missing out on justifiable work. I mean, it's totally legit, and the customer knew everything that I did. I was keeping them in the loop the entire time, okay? So we went through it, we found issues, and the customer is actually, like I said in the video, they've already got new equipment ordered. So we'll be installing new equipment here in a little while. Now, the customer orders this equipment themselves, but hey, I'll take what I can get, okay? So we turned something that was frustrating into more work down the line. We didn't rip the customer off. We're not trying to screw them over. We're just giving them all the facts and letting them make the decisions, okay? always, always, always try to take a step back and look at the big picture. Okay. That kind of stuff builds your reputation. You know, the customer's happy because, hey, I went to them and I said, look, this is what's going on, you know, and they were thankful for it. Okay. So take your time. Remember to bite your tongue when you run into those frustrating things, and, you know, don't let the customer hear your frustration. Keep it to yourself. The way that I think about it, and again, I still get frustrated too, but the way that I think about it is, you know what, I have to remember I need to be thankful. There's people out there that don't have work right now. There's people that, you know, aren't getting paychecks and all that stuff. So I try to remember that when I get frustrated for silly things, because, hey, I'm thankful for the work that I can do, for, you know, just for the fact that I can stay employed and keep my own employees busy too. Okay. Again, all while being honest with the customer. Okay. We're not trying to rip anybody off. Okay. But in a situation like this, they don't do preventative maintenance. Now, this particular customer, they know, and they've already instructed me. Hey, they even asked me if I'm there working on an air conditioner, just go look at the walk-in equipment, check to see if it's dirty. Because they don't do preventative maintenances, they're trying to eliminate, you know, emergency downtime because something's plugged up. Okay, now in this situation, the customer, we're pretty confident that the customer had accidentally turned off the breaker, but we caught the plugged up evaporator before it became an issue. Okay. That's what we're trying to do, even though it's more of like a reactive maintenance, really, right? When something breaks, that's when we clean it. But, you know, again, I'm just thankful for what I can get. All right. I really, really appreciate you guys. Please, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you're interested, go check out the website, hvacrvideos.com. Check out the merch I have available. The easiest way, though, to support the channel, I keep saying this, is simply just watch the videos all the way through, which if you're watching this, then you obviously did, okay? And thank you very much. But that's the easiest way to support the channel, okay? Then obviously merch is available, and you can also check out, I have a Patreon page, or I have a YouTube channel memberships, things like that, okay? But remember, I do live streams Monday evenings, 5 p.m. Pacific. Work permitting. And then I also go live on the HVAC Overtime YouTube channel on Friday evenings with my buddies. Okay, so definitely go check that stuff out, and we will catch you guys on the next one.